Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, Adem, good to see you.
Good to see you too. This
Yes,
week, I have a guest from the Netherlands with whom I shared the table at the European Search Award ceremony. And how are you, Dave?
I'm good. It was a good party at the European Search Awards.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But we are kind of losers, so
Everybody's a
it
winner,
was a
right?
good experience. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
good
really,
experience.
really. Yeah,
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 yeah. Of course, there's a really high competition in European Search Wars, and
yeah,
being a finalist, it was a really good success for us.
yeah,
But yeah, of course, if we are coming back with the awards, it will be
yeah,
better for us.
yeah. Of course, yeah. But we had a nice dinner, we had a nice party, and we had some good
Yeah,
company at the table. So yeah,
yeah, of course.
was
And
good.
probably we have some Happy Friday planning today, and
Yeah,
yeah, so we can start, and we can start the episode now.
yeah. Of course, yeah. For a change, the weather is nice in the Netherlands, so let's get this going and go have a beer on the roof terrace then. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, I prepared some slides. So yeah, a couple of things. Let's first introduce myself. I'm Dave van der Burgt. I'm a strategic SEO consultant at MvH Media. I'm from the Netherlands, and some people tend to find it hard what the difference is between Netherlands and Holland. So
Yeah, I have asked this
yeah.
question.
yeah. Holland is like the province of, are the provinces of Amsterdam and Rotterdam, but we're from a different part of the Netherlands. But yeah, actually, when you compare the Netherlands to another country, everything is close. So yeah, I understand the confusion. Um, Myself, I have just over 5 years of SEO experience, and I've worked on different types of projects, large e-commerce websites, lead generation websites, and we're doing a lot of local SEO right now as well.
Yeah.
So it's really versatile, our SEO jobs. That's a nice thing. Some more about MvH Media. We're an online marketing agency in the Netherlands. We're a full service agency, meaning that we pick up SEO. So that's my part of my job. But we also do PPC, social media, email marketing, like the whole full stack of online marketing, and we can offer that to our clients. But we do believe in specialists. So someone is SEO marketer or someone is a PPC marketer. So everyone has his own specialism. And we're doing that with over 60 people. So we've grown a
Wow.
lot over the past years. I've started 4.5 years ago at MvH Media, and then we were just over 10 people, I guess. So we're growing quite quickly. And that made that we won the Deloitte Fast 50 for the 50 fastest growing tech companies in the Netherlands. And we were also enlisted in the Financial Times FT 1000, and that's a list of the 1,000 fastest growing companies in Europe. So that was a nice achievement. And of course, we were a European Search Awards finalist, which is a really good nomination as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's where we meet.
Yeah, really.
The area. Yeah. I think I missed something in your biography. So where are you from as a city from Netherlands?
Yeah, I'm actually from Os. That's quite a small city in the Netherlands. Would be nice if someone in the chat knows where it is, but it's actually close to Eindhoven in the south region of the Netherlands.
So which club do you support?
Yeah. I'm from the south, but I do support Ajax. So
Yeah, it's kind of a shame for me.
Yeah, you're supporting another club?
No. I'm also supporting Ajax, but
Okay.
you're from Eindhoven. That
Yeah.
was a biography of what I remember from the European Search Wars.
Yeah. We talked a lot about football, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, but let's talk about online marketing. That's also something that we really like, both of us. So actually, the topic that I want to discuss today was crawling and indexing, because that's a topic that's overseen a lot by marketeers, but also by e-commerce managers, and that's why we always try to explain it in in an easy. We try to explain it in an easy way, but it's quite a difficult topic. So first, I want to talk about some misconceptions. Then I'll like to cover the process of crawling, rendering, indexing, and I'll show some common issues and how to diagnose them. And I've also added 2 case studies of crawl and index management and the results of that. So it gets a bit practical at the end. So I think you experienced it as well. Clients coming in and asking, okay, we want to have better rankings. We just want to rank #1 for this keyword. But often they don't realize that there's a whole process in front. So your website has to be crawled, your website has to be rendered, your website has to be indexed. But when you talk about SEO, a lot of people only talk about or only think about ranking a website in Google. And the hard thing is to explain them that, okay, if you want to rank, you first have to take 3 other steps in order to get to the process of getting your website ranked by adding links or writing content or doing other stuff in order to improve your rankings. But without those earlier steps, you can't even get a ranking. So that's why we think it's really important, and it's overlooked a lot. And that's why we try to discuss this as many times as possible. So I guess you'll know this figure. It's from Google themselves, and actually what it says is how this crawling and rendering and eventually indexing process works. So your website gets into a crawl queue, then it gets crawled. So it's just the process of reading, and then it has to see if there's like some scripts, JavaScript, CSS, and the normal Googlebot can't read those languages. So the normal crawler doesn't read any JavaScript or CSS. It just reads raw HTML. And that's why a lot of crawl simulations that we are using, so for instance Screaming Frog, it just reports source code unless you check JavaScript rendering, of course. But that's also that's the info that Google gets from this first crawling wave as well, and that's why we want all of this important information in the source code instead of putting it somewhere in a JavaScript or behind some render blocking scripts. And after that, it gets indexed. So you really have to take care that your website is crawlable, but also that all the important information already is accessible in this first wave of crawling. And that's sometimes a bit hard, but in a lot of cases, like when people are using a simple WordPress or Magento CMS, then you often see that this is quite okay, except for the crawling. But this rendering is an issue that you don't come across really often. I do have some examples at the end of this presentation, but the most things that go wrong is crawling too many pages and having too much overlap in indexing. This is a really vital graph that we're looking at right now. So this is maybe a bit too basic, but what is crawling? It gets confused with indexing a lot, but crawling is just Google going through your website and not doing anything with it, just reading it, reporting it to another tool where it gets rendered or indexed. But the process of crawling is just clicking links on your website, going to other pages, and discovering if there's any more URLs on your website. Next step, rendering. So I really like this animation, and it's also it always gets clear what HTML, CSS, and JavaScript actually are. When you're showing this, you really don't need some explanation, but just for the idea, I'll tell what it says. So HTML is just the structure of your website. So some elements like H1, H2, meta description, those type of data. CSS really gives it a nice appearance, a nice the presentation of it. And JavaScript really makes it into something that's dynamic and also something that's really responsive. So that's what those different type of scripts are doing. And rendering is converting this HTML structure into a more complete structure, including CSS files, JavaScript files. So yeah, that's the thing with rendering. Next thing is indexing. So really Google getting your pages into their system and really getting them attached to a certain keyword. So yeah, we usually check this with a site operator or with a search operator site, and then a double dot, boost.robots.com in this example, and you can see how many pages are indexed in that case. You can also check it in Search Console, and you get even more insights. We'll get to that later on. But in this process, there are some really common issues. So when you look in Search Console, definitely if you're not really into SEO, you can get a bit overloaded, right, by the messages that it's sending you, like, okay, there's a warning here, there's a page, an error here, or some pages are excluded, and it just gives a lot of signs like, oh, this is wrong, this could be wrong. And we often get emails from clients that get this, like this automated messages from Google Search Console, like there's something wrong with your website, and they tend to get a little panic into the client. Yeah, what our job as SEO is to see what of those problems is really problematic and what's something that is just a problem for theory and not in practice. I try to get some common issues that we see and put them in order of how many times they occur. So the first one is the problem that we see the most, and then the last one is the problem that we see the least. But I think this one is also the most problematic one. So for robotstxt, often this is the first thing that I check if we get a new client. Okay, what are they allowing? What are they disallowing to crawl? And sometimes you get a bit sad if they're allowing anything or everything, or sometimes they disallow everything. We once there's this one example where we had a website where the developer was seeing a lot of bot traffic, and then he thought it was a good idea to just do this, disallow slash, and then there wasn't any bot traffic to the website anymore, just to get better server load. Yeah, of course, not a good idea to disallow your whole website. But in most cases, the problem is the other way around. So we see that 9 out of 10 websites is allowing Google to crawl too many pages. And the problem in that is that especially for e-commerce website with lots of filters, with lots of sorting options, you actually get like this, unlimited possibilities of combinations, making the website too large to crawl, and Google not really getting to the really important pages that you are creating in order to get better positions.
Actually, I have an example for this problem. There's an incredible example from Turkey, and there's a global brand completely changed their marketing communication, and I for example, they changed the prices of clothes, they changed the colors of, and they made lots of ads on the television side, and that great deal of money was spent on the top-rated programs, and they made some product replacements, and lots of money. And after that, they just shared their staging website, and they made it a new website. And they forgot disallow combinating the robotstxt, and they just get traffic from ads and direct. And they are saying that, oh my God, it's we are waiting lots of traffic, but there's no organic traffic because they forget to change the robot.txt. It was really, I don't wanna say the brand name, but probably you know it. That was an incredible mistake in Turkey market.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the classical robotstxt mistakes when you launch a new website and then just launch also the staging robotstxt. That causes a lot of issues. Yeah, classic mistake. Yeah, and it happens to big companies, and I'm really surprised by that no one over there is saying like, hey, we should check robotstxt. But
and one of SEO expert executive shared this on the LinkedIn, and they changed it.
I can imagine. Okay, another one is redirect change. So just redirecting from one URL to another one, and then redirecting that again. Often gets caused by inconsistent URL buildup. So of one URL, there are like always 4 possibilities to build it up, so or even more. So HTTP, HTTPS, www or non-www, but also trailing slashes, and that's where it often goes wrong. So we often see that URLs are being set on non-trailing slash URLs, whereas the website is using trailing slashes. So you always get this change of redirects where there's an automated redirect on non-trailing slash to yes, we have a trailing slash, and then that gets redirected to another page. That also can increase the website significantly by URLs. And also redirect chains often happen when migrations of new websites go live, because then you get like those old redirect files and they get merged with new ones, and then you get a lot of change in that. And I think Google has this document, and it's a bit unclear, but they're saying, okay, you should have Google stops crawling after more than 3, but less than 5, something like that. It's a bit unclear, something in between that range. So in between 3 or 5 redirects, and then it just stops crawling. But yeah, I'll just say don't take the chance and just keep it with one redirect and don't do any redirect chains. Subfolders on product detail pages. That's what we often see with e-commerce websites. So when you get like when you have a website in fashion and they have some Nike shoes, they say like, okay, there's this product, Nike shoes. It belongs to the category of sneakers. It belongs to the category of men's sneakers. It belongs to the category of white sneakers. And then they just have like 4 or 5 different product URLs for one product, meaning that if you do that for every product on your website and you have 70,000 products, that your website is 350,000 pages instead of 70,000. People try to solve this with canonicals, but canonicals only solve indexing issues and not those crawling issues of the website being 5 times larger than it should be. So this is something that goes wrong like really often, and we always want to fix as quickly as possible. So just keep your product URLs, your product slugs directly after the root. Heavy JavaScript dependence. So yeah, there's a lot of discussion about JavaScript. Should we embrace it? Should we avoid it? I really like to avoid dependence on it. So please don't add H1s, canonicals, reflangs via JavaScript. And when you do, the best option is server-side rendering or even dynamic rendering, where you say, okay, we want to have the whole page rendered for Google, and we want to pre-render that on the server, and then the user can render it in their browser themselves. That's actually a really nice solution where you have like low server load, but also you can serve all your important information in HTML to Google. So that's actually part of one of the cases that we'll discuss at the end of this presentation. Geo redirects, there's a lot of fuss about this one as well. Google is saying, okay, geo redirects are okay, but in a lot of cases, they go wrong like really horribly. We've had multiple cases of companies coming in here saying, okay, only our English website gets indexed. How is that possible? And then, yeah, the first thing that you're checking is what happens when you're visiting the Dutch website from America. And when you're doing that, you can already see, okay, it gets geo redirected to the English version. meaning that when Google goes to the website from the US, because they're crawling from the US, you immediately see that they get redirected to the English version as well. And then for Google, it looks like the Dutch version isn't even existing because it gets a redirect to the English version. There are some like hybrid solutions to this as well. So you can also say like, okay, we just want to redirect the user with geo redirect, and then same thing like dynamic rendering. Just don't serve those redirects to Google, but best practice actually is to just don't use those geo redirects. I haven't seen many advantages of it, so yeah, please stop doing this. That's what I'm saying in the slide as well.
Actually, I witnessed like worse example than geo IP redirects is I had a brand. It's just the services in English and Turkish, and they were changing the landing page language with JSON code. And you know, there is no any subfolder for Turkish language or subfolder for English version. Just they are changing. Just there is a one page, and they are changing the language. Depends on the browser language of user, and they are changing it with JSON code, not also redirect. You know that that was amazing, and just English pages were crawled, and if you are searching something about this page, it's just English meta titles and descriptions were indexable. Yeah, that was another problem, and of course, like geo IP redirect is also another painful problem for SEO.
Yeah, of course. Another one. This is like really old-fashioned. I do see them sometimes still. It's the mobile domains. It gets a lot of double pages, canonicalization issues. So if you still have this on your website, I would recommend to don't do it. just redirect this whole mobile domain. It's really old-fashioned, gets a lot of trouble with indexing, duplicate contents, stuff like that. So please don't do that. We have seen some examples of this, and it's usually because there's like this really old CMS, and this used to be some kind of best practice, but that was like before I could even use a computer, I guess. It's like a really long time ago. But usually this, you shouldn't do this. Paywall content. This is actually could be good because if you have a news website, this probably is one of your business models. You really need this to make any money. But it's really a challenge for SEO to get like this content index that you aren't even showing to the user. There's this famous example of The Sun, newspaper in the UK, where they paywalled their content but didn't do anything about SEO. So they lost basically all of their traffic to the website, because when Google went to the website, they also got this notice of you have to pay to see this content, and there wasn't any content. So it can't index any content when there isn't any. So they lost basically all of their visibility. And when you're doing SEO right, you can get Google in there and get it to index the content. But when a user clicks it, they do get this paywall, and you get to make any money as a news website. But this really needs really good tech SEO. You need some dynamic solution to get Google to see the content, but not for every user. But you also need some markup saying, okay, this is paywall content, in order to show Google that you're not cloaking, because that could be an issue as well. This is a really specific problem. You don't see that really often, but there are some really nice cases. I would recommend reading the blog about The Sun. I guess it's on the Systrix blog. It's really interesting as an SEO. There are a lot of ways to diagnose those issues. How do you know that you have an issue on crawling? I don't think a lot of people realize that they do have a problem with crawling, or with indexing or any of those technical processes. But there's lots of ways, and also free and easy ways to see if you have any problems with crawling, indexing, or even with rendering. So the bare minimum, Google Search Console. We see a lot of websites not even having configured this, so they don't even claim that Google Search Console always do this. And then you can see like those reports with how many URLs of my website are indexed, how many do have troubles or problems with being indexed, and then you can really specifically troubleshoot your issues that you're having with crawling and indexing. The problem with Google Search Console is that it's limiting data to 1,000 rows. So when you have, like in this example, you have 77,000 pages with problems, and it only gives you 1,000 examples, you're missing out on some URLs, but also on some overlaying problems. So you actually want to have more information on, okay, why is my website not indexing properly? Why are there problems with crawling or anything? So there are some other tools that we are using a lot. Crawlers is basically the most important one. We're a big fan of Screaming Frog. Are you using that one as well at Boost Rows?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's a great tool. Yeah, we've also tried some alternatives, but actually all crawlers are doing the same. So there are like there are other companies offering the same tool, but yeah, Screaming Frog is a bit one of the. I think it's one of the biggest tools in SEO.
Yeah, I think so. And is the best feature is there is no limit.
Yeah. With custom extraction, you can get anything from the website. Yeah, it's great. So this is a really big tip. Get yourself a crawler when you're doing audits on crawling and indexing. When you get like really advanced issues where you're not really sure what the problem is, you can also do a log file analysis. We also use a tool from Screaming Frog for that, but there are like several log file analyzers out there as well. And what this does is, okay, you can see like real Google data, which pages are being visited by Google, and you can compare that to your crawl. So you can see which pages are accessible for users, but which ones is Google not visiting, or the other way around, which one is accessible for Google but not for our users, and you want to get it more importance by adding it to your internal linking structure. But this log file analysis, we don't do it like in every basic project, but when we see like complex crawling issues, we tend to do this. The hard thing most of the time is getting the log files from the developer. They often are a bit, they are not really happy to share them. Sometimes there are files of several gigabytes, so that's sometimes a problem as well. But when you get them, you can get like really interesting insights when you really have some problem with crawling. And this one is massively underrated, mobile friendly test. We use it, actually, when we get new clients, when we get new projects we're running, I always say to my colleagues, okay, run it through mobile friendly test just to see how Google is seeing your website. It's incorporated in Google Search Console as well. So you can use it from there too. But what you get to see here is, okay, what type of content does Google see when they visit our website? You can also see if there are any problems with robotstxt, because or at least when they are blocking like CSS or JavaScript files, you can see it on the right side. You can see a screenshot, and if it looks a bit weird or a bit funny, there's a problem with loading one of the external scripts. So this is a really underrated tool. Then there are some case studies as well. So I've added 2 of them of some crawling issues, some rendering and indexing issues that we solved, and what kind of results that gets you as a website. So this is a client that came in with a big problem, or not a big problem. They were saying, okay, like we discussed at the beginning, okay, our rankings aren't that good. We want to improve our rankings. And then when we had to look at the website, we saw like, okay, optimizations on your website are okay, but the thing is, Google doesn't see them because you send them like all over the place with internal links to strange parts of the website, and we wanted to restructure it. So this is actually a screenshot from also from Screaming Frog, great tool. And yeah, it doesn't make sense. On the right side, you can see all those different departments with linking chains over there as well. So what we did is we disallowed a lot of unnecessary parameters. We also added or deleted those subfolders from PDPs. So we put the slug of the products directly after the root. And then we decreased the website size. So after those optimizations, the website looked like this. Still, there are some improvements. As you can see, there are some linking chains in there as well. So you get a lot of crawl depth on those pages. But yeah, you can see a big difference with how it used to be. So if you look at this one and look at this one, yeah, it's a big improvement. Google thought the same way. So when we're looking at visibility, you can see like there's a major uplift, went times 3 times 4 compared to the previous situation, and also clicks and impressions really rose for this website. Of course, we also did some content. We did some we restructured the main navigation. So it's not just the improvements in crawling and in indexing, but all the improvements that we did were visible because we managed that well. Another case that we saw was a website that came to us and said, okay, we're having difficulties indexing our website. And there were a couple of problems with this one. So one of them was JavaScript. So the whole website was JavaScript based. So what we saw was there is one line in the source code saying call this script. So that was like the whole source code, and then the whole website got loaded in a script externally, meaning that if you looked at the source code, there was like nothing. If you edited in Screaming Frog, it just crawled to the homepage and it said, okay, this is it. So what we did is we set up, we didn't set it up, but we told the developer to set up some dynamic rendering solution. And also there was some paywall content, and we allowed Google to see this. So just tell to the platform that, okay, if there is a visit from a Google bot, allow it to see the page and don't put this paywall up. So then what we saw is that instead of indexing, there was like 70 or 80 pages, it started to index 18,000 pages in 2 weeks' time. So that really took off, and they were still improving on how many pages they have indexed. And yeah, it's for reference, this is a website with probably around 300,000 to 400,000 pages. So they were just indexing like 300 of them, and yeah, that looks a bit weird. But having solved this issue also meant, of course, it's a dynamic rendering issue. Having solved this issue meant that their visibility rose, but mainly the number of keywords in the index rose from, it was around 100 maybe, and now they're at 34,000 indexed keywords in Google. So that was actually a really nice result, and this was just crawl management. And having Google render the website properly.
Is that really perfect case?
Yeah. That was a really nice case as a package.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you, Dave. Really, thank you for accepting this broadcast participation. Thank you for everything. It was a really, really nice broadcast, and it was a really good episode for technical SEO. And so you can sign up for our weekly newsletter to read some summaries of weekly SEO. Of course, this also about this episode, and also we are sharing sometimes valuable resources from different SEO executives. And if you wanna keep in touch with us, you can sign up to the newsletter. Yeah, you can.
Go to the weekend, I guess.
We can go to the next presentation, next slide.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Dave, to participate this episode. it was really nice episode for us, for every SEOs, especially for the technical SEO. So so goodbye everyone, and happy Friday.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Bye.